we will be exploring the idea of solving by factoring and specifically looking at quadratic equations. It is important to note when working with polynomials that the factored form of a polynomial such as x squared plus x minus 6 looks like x plus 3x minus 2. But then, if we would like to put this into equation form, we set that trinomial equal to something, and we will be looking to set something equal to 0. So the equation form then is x plus 3 times x minus 2 equaling 0. So how do we solve an equation? Well, we have to first make sure that the equation is set equal to 0. In this first case, x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. That step is already completed. However, in x squared plus x minus 4 equals 2, we need to set it equal to 0 by subtracting 2 on both sides. This will result in x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. Our second step is to factor completely, and we need to look for greatest common factor or factor by grouping, so we do factor these polynomials completely. This polynomial factors into x plus 3, x minus 2. We next are going to look at the zero property principle, which states that if two things are being multiplied, such as a times b, and it's set equal to 0, then either a has to equal 0 or b has to equal 0. So when we have a factored trinomial of x plus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0, we know that the first factor can equal 0 or the second factor can equal 0 due to the zero property principle. Next, we will solve each of these equations. If x plus 3 equals 0 or x minus 2 equals 0, then x equals a negative 3 or x equals 2. And lastly, we always want to check to see if those answers make sense. We can check it in our factored form of x plus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0. And we can easily see that a negative 3 plus 3 times a negative 3 minus 2 equals 0, because that would equal 0 times a negative 5. Likewise, in plugging 2 into that factored form, we can see that 2 minus 2 equals 0, making the entire equation 0. Looking at this example, p times 6p minus 1 equals 12, we have to make sure that we use our steps to solving this. And again, that first step is to set the equation equal to 0. In order to do so, the first step that I took was to distribute p through to 6p minus 1, getting p squared minus p equals 12. Then I subtracted 12 on both sides, so that I had my equation set equal to 0. Now I need to factor this completely. Factoring, I have 2p minus 3 times 3p plus 4 equals 0. And then setting each factor equal to 0 and solving, I find that p equals 3 halves or p equals a negative 4 thirds. And again, if I want to check my answers, I can either plug it into the factored form, or I could plug it into the original equation to make sure that my answers are correct.